well, this is the part of the business that nobody talks about, is really marketing yourself and getting out there. I mean, that's a whole nother career.
These started out as we were doing like educational pieces, and then when I decided to start it back up, it's easier to, because you can see how like that arm's getting ready to fall. Just hold on, be careful with it because it will pop right off.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, Jason, you ready?
Yeah.
CrossFit Control Podcast. Thank you. I got coffee. So, Jason's got his coffee. I got Terry Cunningham today, and Jason's going to be my special guest host. But Terry, we've been trying to do this for a while to get you on this podcast, and we were just talking about I like to interview our members now because they all have unique stories, and I feel like that aligns more with what people want to listen to versus the educational pieces. We do the educational pieces in the gym. I want everyone to hear these stories of how CrossFit has changed our members' lives. And can you just, I mean, when I do intros, I have 3 examples I can use because I hear the same things all the time. I have old injuries, I use Greg. I have a crazy schedule, I use Deborah. Weight loss, I use Matt. And then if I hear age, I use you and Patricia. And quite often when people say, well, I can't do this, I always say, I got a 62 and a 66-year-old woman doing my 6 a.m. class 5 to 6 days a week. So I just want you to dive in, tell us about you, tell us how you got into CrossFit, and then tell us how it's impacted you.
Can I add something before she gets started? Yeah. So when I think of habit, consistency, and commitment and showing up, Terry, and that's kind of big for me because a lot of us, like you mentioned, the excuses, the things, if she can get here and do it, she has made it a habit, and habit will beat motivation any day.
I agree. Well, obviously, I'm older, so that poses things happen to you as you age. We know that scientifically, we know that research based. But I wanted to live longer, and in those years that I live longer, I want to be independent. And part of me is I do not want to be told what to do. I want to be well enough and able enough at 80 to get in my car, do my own grocery shopping, go to church, whatever I need to do. I want to be able to do that on my own and not depend upon my children or anybody to do that. So I knew that, and I had watched my parents slowly become ill and not able to do things. So I knew that I had to do something to stop what I had witnessed before. So I was a high school athlete, and so I thought, well, I have some abilities to do things. And during the pandemic, I had walked and had built myself up to walk an hour and not have a whole lot of pain. So I thought, okay, I think I can do it. But my sister, who's older than me, said, hey, if you really want to do something, come to the gym with me. There's the coach there is really great, and he's helped me a lot. And so I didn't bite on that for a while. But as time went on, I thought, walking's not doing it. I have got to get in and get moving. So I came during friends and family and kind of got hooked from there. So I think that was really the hardest part, was getting started. And so once I kind of got in here and could prove to myself that I could do things, one thing leads to another. So then I was able to do something else, and it just builds and builds and builds.
I got a question for you. When you first came, obviously you said you were walking, you started.
I did.
Patricia, your sister, said, Dev can help you out. Take me through, because I think a lot of people get overwhelmed when you first come, the first class, it's overwhelming. Take me kind of to when you first started lean to now, and how Devan kind of helped you?
Well, first of all, it's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot to learn. And for me, I could understand it in my mind. I couldn't get my body to do it. So it took probably a good month and a half for things to start to click. Now, here's the good thing about coming here, and I can't speak for other gyms, but here, there isn't anybody in a session that won't help you. And there isn't, at least that's been my experience. And then Devan demonstrates everything that we do. So that helps. And then also, you don't have to beat yourself up if you don't get it right the first time. So those things, having the freedom not to be perfect, having the freedom to kind of grow and learn on your own at your own pace was helpful. And I know that I'm older than everybody else or a lot of people that are here.
You got one.
So
You got one who's older.
so that is a little bit of pressure because I don't want to be 60. I really want to be 40. So, but you can get there. I mean, I've seen myself do things that I never thought I would do, and some things I do better than the 40-year-olds. So, the more you're in here and the more you do it, the better you become. And you learn your body and you learn your mind, and you can get yourself where you want to go.
Well, there's times your hustle. I don't want to be out hustled by grandma. So there's been a few times on the GHD where I'm tired and I see you over there and just your commitment. I'm like, man, I got to get over there for Devan says something smart. So
Yeah. Well, see, here's the trick to that. That's one of my favorite things to do. It's hard, and that machine scared me. I didn't do it for a long, long time. And then, because Devan knows me, during my PT, he crushed me. He said, "Get on this machine," and like for a half hour, I'm like, "Devan, you're killing me here." But it cured me of being afraid, and now it has become one of my most favorite things is that machine.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're how old are you actually? You're 62 or 63
I'll be 63 this summer.
this
Yeah.
summer. At what age did you feel this good? What
Oh,
was the last age that you felt this good?
I hate to say this. I felt good until I had my kids because pregnancy takes a toll on your body. And then after that, you're it feels like you're on a treadmill because it's take care of your babies, you have to go to work, you're trying to take care of your house. And for me, that's when my parents began to fail, so to speak. And so you're sandwiched in between all of the stuff you have to do and then all of the stuff that other people have to do. So it takes its toll on you, I think, mentally and physically.
So would you say
That would be in my
30s?
30s. Yeah, in my 30s.
When you started here, even though you started walking and then you started here and you were here for a while, how often do you leave here shocked by what you're able to
Oh,
do at 62?
uh, like today, for example, I didn't finish the whole workout, but I talked to some people that I did just as good as they did and better. So, I mean, it was hard today, but I held my own.
I'll tell you something that's different with what we do here too. I had during the Bring a Friend week, I had a disabled veteran come in, and I think it was a run workout, and he was like, "Hey, I can't run." I said, "Well, don't worry. We got rower, we got bikes, we got ski ergs." And he goes, "Oh, the other place told me I had to run. They forced me to run." And he was in an accident where his knees are not
Mhm.
very good, and so that's something that sticks out to me. A lot of gyms say we modify, but I want you guys to do what you're comfortable with doing for the day. So we had one workout. I can't remember what it was, but it was running and then some weightlifting inside the gym. And I remember you said, "Hey, I just want to run today. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to run. I'm going to rest while everyone else is lifting, but then I'm going to go run." And so you ended up running over a mile, actual running. And
Mhm.
is
I
that
remember
something?
that.
how many times have you done things inside of here that you thought at your age was not a possibility, or you thought that was long gone?
Um, you'll remember this maybe. The day we had to do the lunges, you had the path in the gym.
Yeah, I remember because you yelled at me.
I'm like, oh my God, Devin, how are we going to do this? And I was able to do that. I thought, I'll never do it, but I did it.
Can you talk a little bit about how I think a lot of people? So I know you at least come 5 and sometimes 6,
Hmm.
and a lot of people, you know, and you do the workouts. It's not like yeah, you modify, but you're still doing them, and just to see you is that motivation. But like you said, the things that you didn't think you could do, um, kind of talk about that, like how your mind, like getting here, doing it.
I think people in my generation, and I don't know about how they teach phys ed today, but you just kind of went and tried to mimic what the instructor was doing. Well, here, there's basically an explanation of what muscles have to work and how your bones have to move in order to make this happen. And you have to practice that. So, as I said in the early stages, I probably will do this 10 times incorrectly before I get it correctly once. And that's the learning process for me. I think I, I'm slower, but I try to be more deliberate and methodical about learning the procedures because someday, rather than do them slow, you want to do them faster and quote unquote keep up with everybody else. So, but it took me a while to put all of that together. And again, I had the freedom to go slow, and that I think saved me. If I would have had to keep up with other people, I probably would have quit.
Well, I think you did a good job of not paying attention to the other grandma in the room. How
Yeah.
many? Well, that's what's interesting. You two work out together, and Jason's in that same line with you. So we got you on the GHD, and then you got Patricia out deadlifting him some days. We should have Jason talk about what it's like to be pushed.
No comment. No,
Yeah.
it's good to see these ladies, work hard, and you're just like, my goodness.
And here's the other thing that nobody talks about. It's fun. To me, it's fun. It is not, do we all come in and we grumble about, we hurt, we whatever. That comes with the territory. But it's fun because you're with people who are positive and um, we're all different. We all have different careers, so we learn about all of that, and it's just fun.
How do you get your mind to show up? Because me and you've talked. The most important thing is showing up, and I see you out there like you're reading
Yeah,
before.
I
You're
do.
very committed and you're a very scheduled person. So
I am.
I just briefly like over the pain because you had mentioned the hurt, the whatever. You just making your mind that I'm just showing up.
Yes, and
Well,
pain. First of all, one of the sayings or phrases in this gym is you can do anything for 30 seconds, and that is definitely true. And if like for me, if I am sore, the best thing for me to do is to get myself out of bed and get in this gym because that works it out. It works it out. And you do a little bit, I did a little bit of reading, and to build muscle, you have to break down what's in there and it builds it back up.
there
So,
are two things that I really want you to talk about. One is what it was like coming back because when you had your gallbladder
mhm.
surgery, there was a different Terry that came back. It was almost like you got scared from the possibility of not being able to do this again. So you came back and you were doing things that you would fight me on before. But so I want you to talk about that, and I want you to talk about how even though you had just had that gallbladder surgery, you still came up every day at 6 a.m. and you walked, or you came after school
After work,
and you
yeah.
would walk. And I want you to talk about that, and then I want you to also talk about what it's done for your relationship with your sister because you two grew up same household, but she's older than you. You two are very different, and so what has that done for your relationship at this point in your life?
Well, back to the surgery portion. Um, In those beginning days of starting at the gym, it is confusing because you are trying to learn a lot in a short amount of time, and you've got to get your body to do that. Some moves are complicated, and we talk about that all the time here. So I was disappointed in myself that I could not do that the way I thought I could do that. So I had to get over that. You got to get over yourself a little bit. So I felt like I was just getting better when I had to have my surgery. And those months before I had my surgery, I was pretty sick. And I thought, oh my gosh, I cannot spend the rest of my life feeling like this. When I get this surgery and have my gallbladder taken out and can get back, I made it my business to give it my best shot because I don't want to live the rest of my life like I lived those 6 weeks before I had my surgery. Because I'm pretty independent and I like to do things. I'm not much of a sitter around her. And so I thought, no, my ticket to a healthy older age is to get in here and get myself healthier. And so even in that short amount of time, which it's been about a year, I feel tremendously better. I feel I don't feel as fatigued as I did. I don't feel like I want to go to bed immediately when I get home from work. My energy level is better. My mental capacity is better. It's an all-around plus for me. So again, that 6 weeks of waiting for that surgery and the 6 weeks waiting till I could get back were like, I can't, I don't want to live my older years like that. I have things I want to do. And if I don't get moving, I'm going to be stuck. So I don't want to be stuck. I want to be able to get out and go. So as far as my relationship with my sister, well, that's a complicated thing. As we all know, siblings and families, that's a complicated thing. So, and Devan hit the nail on the head there. We're two very different people. Although birth order wise, we are next to each other. I wonder myself, did we grow up in the same house? Because she's very, she's like a diamond in the rough, I would say. Very direct, sometimes um,
Almost too much.
um, sometimes hurtful. And I don't think she means it that way. She's really just trying to help you. It's hard to swallow sometimes. So, but anyway, once you get past that, um, I would have to credit her for getting me here. So, kudos to her for that. The other thing is, she also is very independent. But because we have this relationship in common, and she's at a time in her life where she's essentially alone, her husband is deceased, she needs help too. So I don't think in the past she would have called and said, hey, Terry, can you come over and help me do this? Now she will pick up the phone and say, hey, can you come over and help me move furniture? And my husband and I, we do that. So that has been a plus for she and I. And we have other siblings. So because we are together, it helps us be together with our other siblings. Like, for example, we have generated many of the last Thanksgiving, we are the ones that generated the Thanksgiving gathering, where we're going to go, what we're going to do, what food we're going to have. So that's been positive.
And you also, which sister lives in Virginia?
Catherine.
Catherine.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she comes to visit, you both bring her into the
Yes.
gym, and she works out with us, and that's a cool thing too. Did she end up joining a gym out in?
She
No?
did not, but they're transitioning. They're going to retire and move back here. So
Oh, they are.
yeah. So Patricia and I have talked and said, as soon as she gets here, we're getting her to the gym. That was one of our things. Because we said she needs to be with us because it's been a positive thing for us. So we want her to be with us.
Something I do think sets us apart as a gym too. I watch these other affiliate owners, especially now that we're in the middle of the open, and they are doing things like repeating the workouts multiple times and posting about it on social media and only highlighting their best athletes. To me, I signed up to save and change lives, and I get a thrill out of coaching the Jerrys and I get a thrill out
Sure.
of coaching the Terrys. And to me, it is just as cool to me to watch you be able to run a mile without stopping as it is to watch Jerry deadlift 600 pounds. And I don't know if other coaches have that same internal feeling. So it makes coaching fun and easier for me. But I think that also does set us apart where you're not being left behind in class because I shouldn't use you as a specific
It's okay.
example, but the athlete who is trying to learn and they're trying to build their capacity, they're not being left behind because our coaches love coaching everyone as an individual. To me, it is so much fun to have a class where you have a variety of athletes and I have to pick and choose modifications and I have to give the best class for Brad as I do for you, as I do for Matt. I love that challenge as a coach. I don't know if everyone else has that because I've been to gyms before where I dropped into a gym in Florida. There was a woman in her 80s. We were doing burpees, and the coach wouldn't acknowledge her. And then when she said, "Hey, I can't do burpees," or she said, "My burpees are pathetic," and he said, "That's not a pathetic burpee. This is a pathetic burpee." And he did exactly what she was doing. And I was so frustrated. I pulled him aside after class and I said, "Hey, you can't do that." And keep in mind, I didn't know the kid. I was just dropping in, but I was like, "You can't do that to people. That could have been the difference in her coming back the next day." And we can truly change lives if we just have people show up every day is going to change your life.
I agree.
You talked about the experience in the class. Apart from the exercise, what else do you get out of coming to the 6 a.m. every day?
Well, the camaraderie is I think it's essential to coming back. I don't think doing this is hard. Doing this alone would be really hard. So the camaraderie is great. We had that newest gal today this morning, and I feel like because we embrace her and we talk to her, and that helps her because she's works midnight shift.
She went back and forth on emails for about a month, and same thing, terrified. Never had an exercise program before. Terrified to get started. Comes in, does her intro. I think it was one of Sierra's first intros, and so there's a skill to doing the intros too to make sure like you have to be able to convince people that you're going to change their life in a 30-minute
Right.
session. So I asked her today, I said, are you surprised by how much you enjoy being here? And she said, yeah, I am, because if you've never exercised before, coming in and doing this is tough, but I feel like our process makes it much more easier, much more enjoyable because our people are so nice. Like you going over and talking to her in the middle of the workout, like, hey, let's do this together. That can be the difference in I feel terrible about this workout versus I'm moving with other people that are going
Right.
through the same thing as me.
Right. The thing that I tell people is, and we talk about it here all the time, is what you do here, it pays off here, but it also pays off in whatever else you do. So a lot of the gals here are nurses. Well, you know, when you come here and you can lift 50 pounds, well, you can go to your job and you can lift 50 pounds, and it's not going to fatigue you like it might have done before you started this class.
Has there ever been a thing? And so for me, when I lost all my weight, I can remember like walking up a flight of stairs and not thinking about it. Like later on thinking, "Oh, I'm just doing things now." Like
Mhm.
when we go hiking or something, I don't think about stopping or what it's going to be like. You just do the things you're supposed to do
Right,
every day.
right.
Were there things before that you would look at and say, "I can't do that," whether it's age or ability, and now you don't even think about it?
Well, periodically, we go to Pittsburgh and shop. So, you can be there all day. And typically we are. And I'm like, before we would be, oh, let's go sit and have something to drink or whatever. And I'm like, No, we got lots of stores to get into. Let's get going. We can make a trip to the car and get rid of these packages and come back and do something else. So again, not necessarily a big thing, but it's a little thing that helps you. It enhances your life. It enhances that experience. Um, when we went to the concert in Pittsburgh at the football field, I forget the new name of it now, but it was Heinz Field. We park on the other side of the river. Well, that means you got to walk across a bridge. I'm like, guys, hurry up. I'm already across this bridge. What are you waiting on? So that's a big difference. Before it was, you always had to plan for that, and it's hot and it's whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm waiting on them. And I'm one of the old ones in the group. So
I think that's one of the best things about doing a fitness program. When I started, I was trying to be more competitive, but now I look at it as I'm just trying to enjoy life and make my life easier, especially with expecting the twins. But Matt comes in. He talks about he works at the nursing home with your daughter, and he talks about how he'll carry stuff to the storage shed, and he'll get 10 to 15,000 steps a day, and he doesn't think about it anymore. And so it's interesting and it's cool to see the things that we used to think about how we were going to do it, and there's no thought to it now. And I'm sure there's other things in the house, like when you do laundry, you have to carry the clothes baskets. You probably don't think about it anymore, how I need to hold it to make it easier
Right.
on me. You just carry it.
right.
Stuff like that. Carrying the groceries, make it all in one trip.
I have a split level, so that's two flights of steps. Just boom, 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 go. Yeah, yeah. Again, it enhances your life. I wish I had the words to help people understand the difference in that fitness makes in your life, mentally as well as physically.
I was talking to someone, I think it was a parent in the kids class, and let me know what you think about this saying. I say, if you expose yourself to hard things 1 hour a day, it makes the other 23 hours easier because you are exposing yourself to the hard things. Versus if you're waiting for the hard things to happen, it's going to be much more difficult to handle.
I agree with that. And in my profession, I use these words. If you learn to handle small problems now, you will have the ability to handle bigger problems later on in your life, because it's about learning. It's about where to go for resources. It's about who to talk to. There's no magic there. You have to do those things, or you might not find the best solution to your problem. So I agree with that. Doing a little bit now helps you figure out how to do it later.
I like it. That's going to be your tagline for this episode. We are about pushing 30 minutes on this.
Okay.
Jason, do you have anything else for Terry?
I just think of what you said about being committed. You show up,
Mhm.
and just my tagline in my head is "Don't get out hustled by grandma." I mean, if you're doing it, so I just think it's awesome that you show up, and
Thank you.
so definitely pushes me some days that I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing this.
Uh, th- And honestly, there are days. I mean, this last month, man, I'm like, Devin, you're killing me. My arms are going to fall off. But that's all. That comes with the territory, and that's the fun part, because we're all in the same boat. We've all been pushed, and honestly, I don't think of myself as grandma. I'm trying to think of myself more on the other end these days, but I know I'm older. But that's the fun in it, because I knew I could do it before, but now I can. There's a big difference. You think you can, but I've had so many successes. I know I can do it, and that just keeps bringing me back. Something new every day, but you're going to give it a shot, and eventually you'll get it right.
I like it. Terry, I really appreciate you doing this
Well,
episode. I
thank you
know
for inviting me.
we've been trying to do it for a while. You're a
Mhm.
staple in the gym, and I think you're going to motivate a lot of people by listening to
Well,
this.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you.